Hello, my name is Raymond Karchevsky. I am a living Christ. Today I should like to speak to you about this living Christ clarifies hell on earth. We've just seen 5 days of hell unfolding throughout our civilized country of America, in the many major states of America, the cities. It's the result of the frustration of thousands of hopeless, illusion believing, socially indoctrinated people who have been fortified by a highly honed, resistant, militant force which carried out the coup de grace. All by design, intellectual, satanic design, designs of government, designs of bankers, designs of those who make the rules and control us through words, illusions. They've taken us away from truth, the what is, and made us dependent as children upon definitions of words, authority. And thus we have lost ourselves in becoming slaves to words, to fictional ideas and words, laws, rules. Now all this frustration played out by a mass public was observed on TV, media, a mind-controlling arm of those who control us, the satanic forces. They delivered news broadcasts, edited sites, creating a spectator sports of opinion held by millions of passive, fearful people, you, lounging in the dependence of such authorities, in the security of your own home. You were being conditioned through fear, and millions of your tax monies are being exhausted in the process. Do you understand that you're living a fiction, and you're paying for it dearly with money, which is a symbol of your energy, which is stripped away from you and fed into the forces of evil, the policy makers who dictate behavior, mass behavior, by threat and intimidation, by roles of laws, man-made laws. They themselves are fiction also, that pertain only to the fictional person created by government. They do not apply to living men and women, and that's the rub. What are you? Are you a living man or a woman? Or are you, and have you agreed to be, by contract, a person? If so, you're a non-entity, a non-living entity, a dead, living person, which is the same as a corporation. You're the undead. You understand? You've lost your sovereignty. You've lost your life through belief. Now, this massive feast, these past 7 days of violence, of looting, of damage to properties, vandalism, this was all preceded by an equally fictitious scientific theory called a coronavirus. Unproven. In actuality, it is not much more at this point proven to be beyond the common cold, the flu. Yes, it is deadly for those who have compromised immune systems, who have pre-existing existence of cardiac problems, of breathing problems, pulmonary problems, of diabetes, and those who are afflicted with these circumstances and are aged are ripe to be killed by such additional virus. Records have been doctored as to the cause of death attributed to the coronavirus when it is a lie. People who have died of other circumstances were bunched in with the coronavirus. That's what you can do with statistics. You can make numbers sound anything that you want them to sound like. Now that scam lasted for several months prior to this breaking loose of violence, of frustration, of anger, of damage to life, limb, and property of others. You see, the will, the spirit of living men and women, you, have been broken by fictional institutions like government and religion who create fear and have deceived you through satanic mind control, which is called educational indoctrination, which creates political restrictions that are designed to enhance enslavement process amongst you, the controls upon a living people, you. You are the creator of government, and you are the creator of religion. And yet you have been made to doubt yourself. You believe yourself to be slaves of words, satanic words called law, man's law, which is also based in fiction. You understand? There's only God's law, and it's very simple. Do no harm, tell no lies. It's non-dualistic in nature. It does not require an opposing image in order to react to. When you find yourself in that process, you are in the intellectual realm of satanic control, satanic mind control. And you are subject to the forces of Satanism, which take the form of government and religion and rule over the minds of millions and millions of you. That's what governments are. That's what religions are. You see, it's all fiction, all design. All of the reactions you're seeing on the streets of our cities are based in provocation, causing fear, causing reaction, causing anger and frustration. You see, and it costs millions and millions of your tax money to exhaust your energy, your life energy, which is being stripped away from you from these fear-inducing hypnotic suggestions. Now let's take a look and how all this is possible. First of all, this is not a self-serving suggestion, but I recommend that all of you watch my videos, which are linked at arkenterprises.com/index9.html gospel with a capital G. Yet without boast, answer to all of our civilized problems now being experienced will be answered for you. That is why the satanic forces which control you don't want you to view the videos of this living Christ. They don't even want you to know that I and my videos even exists. This is the mind control campaign which has been borne out by 25 years of their efforts to destroy this living Christ. It's amazing how much time, effort, and money has been expended by government to misdirect public attention away from the simple solutions to the problems of this world offered by this living Christ. Go ahead, research it for yourself. Don't take my word for it. In the meantime, the travail that's being experienced and that is being applied to this living Christ by the Josephine County, Oregon, in declaring war upon this simple man of truth, committing crimes, outward crimes that they are purportedly existing to investigate. But how can they investigate themselves? That's the question. You'll also note that during this violence throughout our nation, in Josephine County, Oregon, the internet has been shut down and only recently opened up. It's all by design, keep you in the dark, while violence pervades on the streets of our country. See, that's no mistake. The coronavirus scam was no mistake. It's all by design. The organized assault on police officers was no mistake. It's all by design. You, the people, the real power, the creators of government, are being dangled on mind control strings, much like marionette puppets that you are. You want to know how you got in this mess? And pay attention to the following. For many of you are truly incapable of doing this. You have been taught to believe, to respect authority, to not question authority, and therefore you have stopped thinking. You have stopped being responsible for yourself. You have been made dependent upon authority symbols which have taken advantage of you. And that is why you have wound up as ignorant pawns, putting yourself in harm's way, protesting against a satanically controlled dualistic existence, when the pressure can no longer be contained. Riot, revolution, and civil war bloody killing of each other, the brother against brother, neighbor against neighbor, ensues. You see, as a child, you were assaulted by forceful intellectual training to knock you off your balance, your mental balance and your spiritual balance. It's all done by a process called education. That's the civilized world for mind control. It's all been downhill ever since. You cannot deny that. However, most of you are not even aware of it, so you call it normal. Nothing normal about it. It has resulted in you when you have adopted a vicarious, not a direct, but a vicarious relationship, existence, based in dualistic, intellectual la-la land. The land of thought, where dualistic illusions become more important than non-dualistic truth, the what is. What brought this all about? Was it not the intellectual illusions of the warrior and the priest class, both of which are symptomatic of pressure, violence, and deception? The warrior is the government, who rules by force and fear, and the priest class is religion, which rules by mind control, illusions, myths, legends, superstitions. Now, were these not mere thoughts that you hold in your intellect, and you think them to be your reality? Many of you they are, but they're not based in truth. They're based in illusion, fiction. Now, how did they become more important to you than you yourself? Who is the author of such thoughts? Think about it. You've created government, and you've created religion. How did they take such power away from you and make you believe yourselves to be slaves? Slaves to your servants. Be that as it may, this is the makeup of every, and I mean every, satanic society which has ever existed, exists now, on the face of this earth, and it is the name of its country, nation, that is merely a word, an idea, a symbol. The solution, of course, is to return to truth, to nature, to what is. Stop the illusion. Stop the beliefs. Undo the three-tiered relationship which has been fabricated by you, who has been the creator of the fictitious reality of the you and the not you. Understand what that is? That's what dualism is called. And that is what is only found in the intellectual mind. The mind that you presently pay homage to. That's the fiction. Your gods are fictions because they're based in belief. They're not based in truth. They're not based in what is. For that's what truth is. Truth is what is. There is no opposite to truth. Understand? and that can be accessed by your subconscious mind, your non-dualistic mind. Now, if you would remove your dependence upon the third party, government and religion, the authoritative institutions, you instantly become independent, alone, the master of your fate. That is your true spiritual nature. Now, what's this got to do with the coronavirus and the utter destruction of the society that we call America? It's time to break the spell, the hypnotic spell of dependence, which has been indoctrinated into you as a child and has arrested your mental and spiritual development and created within your intellect, your conflicted intellect, as fearful, dependent children. It's time for all of you to grow up and begin to take responsibility for yourself. Huh? Stop the habit of dependence, which has been indoctrinated into you. Adopt the habit of responsibility, integrity, truth. Understand. Note the habit of dependence indicates dualism, while the remaining traits are all based in non-dualism. Non-dualism is godly, integrity, truth, while dualism is based in deception, corruption, violence, and deceit. The difference between the two are heaven and hell. All intellectual questions of God are moot, for the dualistic intellect cannot rise above its own limitations. And dumb questions, like why does God allow human misery, crime, wars, disease, natural calamities to even exist? Can you see how such questions can be asked? Only because that is the limited capacity in which most of you are conditioned to think. I'm going to speak to you at your level, so forgive me. However, observe the resentment which arises within you to such interpreted insults, which are not insults at all, but all a matter of fact. Arm yourselves. Be responsible. Do no harm. Tell no lies. Live non-dualistically. Then venture out into the world and deal with life directly, responsibly deal with it, non-dualistically. Our history has already shown that this is possible and existed in the 19th century, the Wild West, where people took responsibility for themselves, were integral, were armed. And that is before the satanic illusions of the legal system with double-talking lawyers, word-twisting wordsmiths created a law that confused the common man who was deliberately dumbed down to not understand. Understand? In the Wild West, nature pervaded the behavior of people. It was direct. It was honest. It was truth. Yes, there was killing, but it was direct. You did not kill another out of confusion. You do not see killing as a crime in nature. Look at the animal kingdom. It's based on the weakest suffer the consequences of their incarnation. The antelope, the weak, fast, however, running, fleeing for their lives, animals, are the weak link, and only the strong survive to the predators. But the predators also have their predators, and there's no end to it. For that is what the nature of life is all about in nature. What it has all over the civilized life is truth. See, the civilized life is a fiction, an illusion. It's based in ideas, storytelling, myths, legends, fairy tales, but not an ounce of truth, except for beliefs that are not substantiated. They have created a system of weaklings and powerful predators, the haves and the have-nots, the intellectuals and the morons, the indoctrinated morons. And it has created reliance, dependence, and that is the disease of the civilized society. Rely upon no one and no thing, and initiate no harm, but don't take any crap either. Do not rely upon a third party, government, and its police and armies. They can't protect you in your moment of trial. Firmly grasp that simple truth, and your life on earth will change. Do that, and your life will not be that of a slave in a cashless, digital, collapsing society, which is designed by a satanic new world order. You will live as sovereigns once again. Your true relationship with all, for you are the creator of your quality of life, and you must take responsibility for it. You cannot lay it off on another. That is a mistake made by civilized slaves. If rioters, arsonists, murderers seek to harm you, or others who are not capable of defending themselves, but are in your sphere of influence, exercise your unalienable rights to self-defense. And like in the world, the days of the Wild West, kill them if necessary. You're all going to face population control, no matter what you do. So put that in your favor. The sovereignty of the Wild West was the greatest time in history. That is, until the satanic legal system was not fully implemented. Let us bring back the mindsets of our pioneer fathers of the Wild West and act responsibility. Get off the welfare rolls. Set out your own life and be responsible for your actions. Stop relying upon illusory law, which has developed the mindset of humanity in such a degrading, dependent society into the present mess that it is. Perhaps now you will see why I am a Christ, a living Christ, a simple man of truth, who stands alone, who does not have an organization to back him up, but alone he has backed down the U.S. government, its courts, its law enforcement agencies. I have backed them down, and what I have done as a living man, a creator of government and religion, so can each and every one of you. For in reality, in truth, you are the living man and the living woman who created in your mind, and in your minds only, the institution of government and religion. That's why media will not acknowledge me. You see, perhaps now you will see why the satanic forces have, in dealing with this living Christ, a simple man of truth, they have been unable to stand up to the truth of that man. I have been immune from the satanic laws of man, and I have proven this in the courts of Oregon. I have written about this for months, for years, and yet I have not made a dent in your belief-ridden intellects, conditioned intellects. So while I remain a living Christ, a sovereign man, you take your place as groveling slaves. Not a very nice prospect, is it? Thank you for your attention.